Hi, good evening, and welcome to day 3 of foam rolling. So, going to start off as we do normally with the lower back. So, I'm positioning this just above my hips and below my ribs. So, in the gap between the ribs and the top of the hip, so this area here. I've got some weight on my forearm, and what I'm going to do is simply lean back with the body so that when I do that, the pressure goes closer to the spine and the release starts to happen. So the amount of weight that you put through on the particular area that you're releasing determines what sort of discomfort level it goes up to, and that shouldn't go past an 8 out of 10. Everybody's level is different, so, and the area of the body in terms of tightness is different, so the amount of weight you need to use is something that you figure out for yourself over time when you do foam rolling, or also as it's known, myofascial release, to give it its full name, which is a bit of a tongue twister. And the amount of time that you spend on an area can be from sort of 30 seconds to a minute up to several minutes. Really, it's up to you on how much time you've got and how tight that particular area of the body is. The area we're doing at the moment is often gets really tight when you sit for a living, which so many of my clients and so many people do nowadays. So although standing desks are becoming a bit more popular within offices and within home offices, but nevertheless you need to do this kind of work whether or not you stand or sit, because everybody has different tight areas of the body. Quite often, as I said, if you sit, the main areas of tightness are where we're working now, the lumbar spine, lumbar fascia, and the front of the hips, front side of the hips, and the upper back. So that's why a lot of time we spend time releasing those using the foam roller. So I think I've probably done about a minute and a half on each side. So I'm going to take you into, and this is the routine I do, well, I do every day, and that's part of the reason for sharing it with you guys within this group, is to kind of reiterate what I do on a regular basis, just to keep my body working better and having less aches and pains. So that's really why I spend my time doing this on a regular basis, well, every day, and hence the reason for the challenge. So now I'm working between the middle part of the back. You can get, you'll see me lift up my hips and sometimes keep them down. The more I lift up my hips, really what that's doing is increasing the amount of pressure on the particular area. If I lift up my left hip here, it goes into the right side of my spine, and the more I manoeuvre around, all I'm doing is moving the roller to a different part of my back. And how you do this is kind of quite intuitive when you're doing it, because you naturally move your body into the right place to create the amount of pressure that you need to release the area. Obviously, the more experienced you become and more practice you put in, the better you get, and the easier it becomes to find the right amount of pressure for you to use to release that particular area. And I think probably now I've been doing this, well, I've been a trainer for 13 years, coming up to 14 now, and there probably hasn't been many days, unless I've been abroad where I haven't done at least some rolling. Even when I've been abroad and I haven't had a roller, I've probably taken a massage ball. So that gives you an indication of how much it helps, and why I, have added this into the group to share with you guys, to hopefully encourage you to start to do this on a regular basis. And it really does help. But like most things, you have to do it and feel it for you to really appreciate the benefits. I'm going to move on now to do the next area that really needs doing, and that is to do the front of the hips. Show you side one actually. So now I've placed this at the top of the hip. So I've got some weight on my left forearm. Right hand is there to guide. And actually I'm going to change that so you can see something better. So my left leg is out to the side, and I've got the roller at the top of my right hips. In terms of time on this area, this is the area that really does get tight from sitting. I'm working on top of the hips, the hip flexors, and just very gently rolling and pressing down at the same time. I'm taking a fair amount of weight on my right shoulder whilst rolling the top of my right hip and quad muscle. So this area here is where the roller is and where I'm putting the pressure down at the moment. So if I want to work down the leg, right, because I've got no room to go this way, all I've done is move the roller a bit further down to more the middle part of the thigh now. I've moved away from the top part here, moving down the leg. And what you'll find as you move down the leg is, depending on your body, certain bits will be tighter than others. And the idea is that you stop on those and allow the pressure to release out the tension. So essentially when you find a sore spot, you stay there till the tension releases. So I've just moved it a little bit further down with my hand, because I'm saying static with this arm here. And probably wasn't timing, but I'd say I'm probably done just over a minute now, just working down the muscle. And I'm about halfway down about here, so there's still a fair way to go. And this is releasing the quads, which are on the front part of your leg. So I'm going to move it a little bit further down. So now I'm kind of here. And finally, right down, quite close to the knee now. And then swap over to the other side, so you can turn around. And start again at the top part of the leg. And as I said before, how you move your body changes, especially the upper part in this thing, changes the amount of weight that you put down through the area of the leg. So if it's too intense, then obviously coming up to both hands like this will take the weight off the area. And as I keep saying, you don't want to be wincing when you do any of this kind of work. It should feel like the muscle is being released, but without making making the rest of the body tighter, because you're using too much pressure. So it's always better to use less pressure over a longer period of time, and then it is to try and essentially smash out the tension. So as I did with the other leg, I'm now moving down the leg towards the knee. And for me on this side, it's certainly there's more discomfort when I work further down the leg than up at the top part. And everyone's body is slightly different, but for people that sit for a living, it's quite often the top half of the leg that is painful. So one other one I'm going to show you today, this is probably one side because I've only got a few minutes left, is what's called the IT band. So this is the outside of the leg, coming from the top of the hip down to here, and this can be really quite uncomfortable. So the best starting position when you start is to start with your arms straight. This is sitting on the outside of my leg here, on the bottom obviously, and then you slowly move along down the roller so that it moves down the outside part of the leg here. This is called your IT band. It's an area of the body that doesn't get stretched very easily, so on the majority of people this is really tight. So when you're doing it, you do need to take the weight of your body in your upper with both hands. Going down onto your elbow like this increases the weight through the area, so you want to keep less weight through the area because it will potentially go past that 8 out of 10 and it will go ow. So you want to try and just find the right amount of pressure that enables you to cope with the discomfort whilst moving down the leg slowly towards the knee, like we did on the front parts of the legs. But this one, as I said, sometimes you might end up taking all your weight in your tops of your arms like I am at the moment, because the discomfort on the area is a bit too much. It is one that takes a bit of getting used to, and sometimes people need to find even simpler versions. I've just changed around onto the other side to start working down from the hip towards the knee. I think you can see probably a little bit better about how I've got my body getting in this position. So I'm kind of taking more weight with my hands here as I move down the leg like that. That is sometimes a bit of a difficult position to get into, so let me know if you have any problems with that when you're watching the video, and I'll try and give you some alternatives to get into that position. So that's the IT band rolling, a little bit on the back and a little bit on the front of the legs. So we're coming up to 9 o'clock. We're going to swap over to gravity yoga. Just want to see who's watching at the moment. Hi Katerina, and we're going to go with a. So we're going to swap to the gravity yoga. The prop you need today is a belt. So any type of belt will do for this particular gravity yoga stretch. So I'm going to run through the principles of gravity yoga as well, which I have posted in the group, but to recap, there's 3 principles of gravity yoga. The first one is to use 4 to 8 breathing during any pose, and what that means is you breathe in through your nose for 4 and out for your mouth for 8. And you use it for a couple of reasons. One, to provide a distraction from the stretch, but the other one is to turn off the stretch reflex, which generally happens around the 2-minute mark when you're in any pose, and it also helps stimulate the vagus nerve in your throat, which brings in the parasympathetic nervous system. So there's a few reasons for using that breathing. The second one is what's called wet noodle. and that means relaxing during the pose, and I'll explain that a little bit more when we get into the pose. And then finally, you want to meet or beat your hold time. So gravity yoga holds anywhere between 2 and 5 minutes. Quite a lot of the poses are 5 minutes. Right, let's get into the pose. I'll stop talking and I'll go through them as we go. So you want to place the belt over the end of your left or right leg, doesn't matter which one you start with. And then you're going to lie back and hold with your arms straight. So I've got my left leg and my left hand like this. I'm going to show you a couple of angles. Relax down with the body, and we're going to start timing the stretch. The arms straight. You can have a slight bend in the leg if you want. This leg, the other leg is straight, and you relax down and just hold this position. So if you're down here, that's absolutely fine. It's whatever distance you are kind of comfortable where you're feeling a stretch, but obviously you're using the band to relax down as you do. So you want to get into the 4 to 8 breathing. So you breathe in through your nose for 4 and out through your mouth for 8. Breathe in through your mouth for 4 and out through your mouth for 8. So try and continue with that breathing whilst I do a little bit more talking and moving around. So you're breathing in for 4 through your nose and out through your mouth for 8. As I mentioned, in this particular hold, we've got 3 different positions on each side. So we're going to hold this bit for 2 minutes. We're already 1:20 in. Keep going with the 4 to 8 breathing. If it helps, you can shut your eyes and just concentrate on trying to breathe in through your nose very slowly for 4 and out through your mouth for 8. And part of the reason we do this, as I said, is to try and bring the parasympathetic nervous system in, which means, which is the relaxation system, which will help for you to get a deeper stretch. So, as with all gravity yoga, it's not the end position is not the most important. It's actually feeling the stretch. It is. Okay, so we're at our 2 minutes. Now we're going to take the leg out to the side. Change position so you can see this. And you're going to extend the distance on the strap and just very slowly take that leg all the way down. Keep breathing, try and keep the arms straight at the same time, and eventually that will lower down. I'm still a little bit off the floor, which is fine. You don't have to get to the floor. It's whatever. If your leg stays there, that's fine. Just try and keep that arm straight and continue with the 4 to 8 breathing. So breathe in for 4 and out for 8. So continue with that breathing, and just let the leg go as far as it will naturally. So it may reach the floor, it may not. It doesn't matter as long as you're relaxing and you're keeping that arm straight. So keep breathing in for 4 and out for 8. We're just coming up to the minute and a half mark. So breathe in for 4 and out for 8. So when you're doing the 4 to 8 breathing, it is only about 5 breaths a minute. We're going to change position again to show you. So what you're going to do now is now for 2 minutes, we're going to bring it foot back into the middle and then over to the other side. So as you bring it over to the other side, you have a slight bend in your leg, that's fine. Just relax the head down and swap the hands over. So now I've got my right hand on the strap and I bring it down. And this time you're going to start feeling a big stretch through this, through the bum, and you're going to breathe in for 4 and out for 8. So keep going with that breathing as best you can. You may find this left shoulder lifts up a bit, but try and keep it in contact with the floor. It all depends on your flexibility. So see now, my foot on the right side is coming quite close to the floor, but it's not reaching. And continue with that 4 to 8 breathing. So breathe in for 4 and out for 8. So if you only manage to breathe in for 3 and out for 6, that's absolutely fine, but keep working at it, keep trying to keep the breathing in nice and slowly and breathing out nice and slowly. So you're going, only a few seconds left now, but breathe in for 4 and out for 8. Okay, good stuff. Right, so we're at the end of the last 2 minutes. So come out of the pose, so bend the leg, just take the strap and swap it over onto the other foot. So I've got my right foot up now, my right hand is holding the strap and the other leg is straight, and we're going to start off with the 2 minutes. So, relaxing the body down as much as you can. I haven't talked about it much, but the wet noodle effect is to just try and relax the whole body in the stretch. Obviously you're lying down, so it's a little bit easier this one. But again, we're going to start with the 4 to 8 breathing. So breathe in for 4 through the nose. And out through the mouth for 8. Breathe in through the nose for 4. And out through the mouth for 8. Keep going with that breathing. And holding the strap at and the height. Well, you're feeling a stretch, but it's not it's not too intense. So for me, this is I'm still feeling it through this area here and a little bit through my calf, but the rest of my body is nice and relaxed. So keep going with breathing in for 4 and out for 8. Breathe in for 4 and out for 8. Alright, good stuff. So we're at the 2 minute mark. So we're going to do the same thing again. We're going to take this leg out to the side. Make sure you've got enough room. I'm going to be slightly out of camera shot, but hopefully you'll still be able to see what's going on with my leg, which is an important thing. And I'm very slowly just letting that come down to move a little bit more out to the side. So without the leg, my foot's almost on the floor, not quite. And I'm going to start breathing. My arm is straight, and I'm going to start breathing in for 4 and out for 8. In for 4 and out for 8. Breathe in for 4 and out for 8. In for 4 and out for 8. So last one, in for 4 and out for 8. Okay, so we're at 2 minutes for this one. So back into the middle. I'm going to shuffle back across, hopefully staying shot. And now my left hand is holding the strap, and I'm going to slowly lengthen the strap as I let the leg come over the top and go towards the floor. If you've got a straight leg, slight bend in your leg, that's absolutely fine. It's quite normal. Just very slowly release that strap and let the foot fall to the floor under gravity. So if your foot doesn't get anywhere near the floor, that doesn't matter. Just try and maintain some the arm to be straight and keep this shoulder on the floor, and just gently let it come over the top. This time you're going to be getting a stretch through the bum muscles, through the piriformis, and just relax it down and start with your 4 to 8 breathing. Breathe in for 4 and out for 8. Breathe in for 4 and out for 8. Breathe in for 4 and out for 8. So continue with that breathing. If you're watching this video and at any point you're not sure about anything in the pose or what you're doing on the other end of the camera, then please do write a message in the comments box. I will come back to you. I can't actually read them when I'm kind of demonstrating and doing the poses, but I will answer them once I've finished the live. So please do ask anything about gravity yoga or the foam rolling or any particular thing that or problem or question you have relating to either of the videos you may have seen today, or indeed in the group. Very happy to answer any questions that you may have. So remember, breathe in for 4 and out for 8. Breathe in for 4 and out for 8. Okay, good stuff. You can now bend your leg and come back up to sitting. So that was obviously a stretch for your pose for your hamstrings. We're going to go into one now for only 3 minutes this time. It's not a difficult pose, it's more of a light stretch through your back, and it's really simple. It's called the Sphinx. We're going to start there. So the elbows are underneath the shoulders, legs out the side or behind you, and we're just going to, you're kind of lifting up with the chest, but you're relaxing the neck at the same time. So you'll feel as you're lifting up through the chest, but you're letting the weight of your head drop at the same time. So you breathe in for 4 and out for 8. Breathe in for 4 and out for 8. So what you're trying to do is not strain your neck in any sense through this one, but you will feel a stretch through the lower back as you're lifting up the chest, but you're relaxing the head. Breathe in for 4 and out for 8. So we're kind of just over halfway, coming up to 2 minutes. Keep with that breathing. The kind of hard thing with this particular stretch is the fact you're lifting up through your chest, but you're not straining your neck, you're kind of relaxing your head at the same time. So it's quite difficult to keep lifting. You feel a stretch through the back, but lifting the chest, but relaxing the head. Keep going with the 4 to 8 breathing. We're well into the 2nd minute now, and we're coming up to 2.5 minutes. So breathe in for 4 and out for 8. Breathe in for 4 and out for 8. Okay, well done. Right, just sit back into the child's pose. So hands out the front, setting your bum back onto your heels. Relax the arms and just work out that counter that Sphinx stretch, relaxing the shoulders. Okay, that's it for this evening. Thanks for joining me. I'll be back tomorrow evening for the foam rolling at 8:45 and the gravity yoga at 9. So, like I said before, any questions about the poses we've done today, please do pop questions in the comments box. Thanks, have a good evening.